risk. So I'll tell people to make that jump to tech if they want to, because it's worth it. It might not be very easy because it's something new, but just trust the process.
All right, so hi everyone. Welcome to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast. I'm your host, Shakiria Johnson. I'm here to help you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. And today I have a amazing guest. I met her in the Black IT Facebook group, and I can't wait for her to tell about her journey. It was very inspirational, the route that she took, and I wanted to have her on here, especially in March, because this episode is going to be uploaded before this month is over with, and just celebrate women. So, Emmanuela, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them how you are and what you do. Let's get that overview about you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuela, and I live in Louisiana, and currently I'm a DevSecOps engineer at a startup, and it's completely remote job, and it's just a DevOps engineer with the security attached to it. And I switched my career from public health. I was in public health for so long, and then I switched my career to um, a DevOps engineer. I'm married, and I have two kids.
Like she made that jump into tech, and honestly, me and her were talking about purpose a while back when we first spoke. And when you walk in your purpose, there's so much to come. Like living a life of abundance with living in your purpose, they can tie hand in hand. So tell me more about your switch from public health to tech.
Um, Actually, I would say that my journey was really long because when people think about tech and switching, they only think about coding. And it happened to me too. So when I wanted to change, immediately I finished my public health degree. I started doing software engineering and I started to code, but I don't love to code. So it took me a while going from software engineering, going to cybersecurity, going to data analytics from Google to finding my passion in DevOps. And when I figured that out, of course, with the help of a mentor, when I figured that out, AWS and DevOps, it was really like the perfect match for me. And I can't believe it because every time I search on Google, like top paying tech jobs, AWS comes first. And I'm like, skip, skip, skip. I can't do this. Skip, skip, skip. Like, this is big. I can't do this. So when I look back, I'm like, I can't believe that I actually did this. So,
Look, honestly, like when I'm on the same boat with you, anybody thinks of
oh,
tech, they think of
really?
like software engineers and stuff like that when it's like you're first looking to jump in the field because that's what's overhyped in all honesty.
Exactly.
And the way that things are, you can't get enough software engineers. I mean, you're going to need them because of the way that people are trying to formulate their own projects and they just need people who can do those things.
Right.
And honestly, it was pretty interesting seeing other roles. Like for me, I went to my tech career really was networking. I I was super tired with coding. Like it was like I tried to do the coding, but I got tired
I
every
mean,
time I tried to code. Like I don't know what it was. I was just it's like my brain would just shut off and I'm asleep. But I just know that is one of like the crucial parts in the tech industry.
yeah, for
And
sure.
it's kind of crazy seeing how far it's come though. It really
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
So with ooh, one thing I do want to ask is like what is public health? Like what does that even mean?
Oh. Actually, I don't blame you because before I did public health, I didn't know what that is. How do I put this in the simplest terms? Okay, so there are different aspects of public health. So there's epidemiology, there is health policy and like health management. So people that like do quality improvement in the hospital, or and that's the concentration that I did, or like manage a hospital. And then there is biostatics, like yeah, so people who punch the numbers. So is it cuts across different things that actually come together to put the public health at, like I don't know how to explain this, but like to put the public's health at put their health first. So technically.
Um, okay, so you know how people go like from like health systems to like tech, like it's just like health information technology. Did you think about
Yeah.
taking like that route?
I did. I think I did, but I also did like a very deep thinking about being in health. I realized that if you're not a doctor or a nurse or pharmacy, you're just not making that enough, you're not making enough. And that is what I also experience in public health. I mean, I know a lot of people make a lot of money in public health, but like you have to really be really big there, like maybe CEO in CDC or whatever, but not regular people, because regular people average entry level public health salary is 45K per year. Some can go for 40 or even 30 something, and that's crap. So, I mean, I love the work, definitely, but I also have family that needs my care and need to be taken care of. So, I didn't think that I wanted to stay there and go into anything health that is not high enough. I didn't want to risk it because I've been in health too much. Just because I didn't go to medical school, I hung on to like public health, and I don't want to hang on just cause I didn't go to medical school. So I just wanted to go away completely and not be restricted because of my past.
Okay,
So
so
that's why I completely jumped. Something fresh, something new. Yeah.
okay, so that transition, let's talk about that transition period. Once you realize that you want to jump into tech, did you go for any certifications? Did you do any more schooling? How was that for you?
I definitely don't want to go to any school anymore. Schooling, I got tired of school. Cause girl, I have 60K loan
Ooh,
from public health, and it's not even making me money to pay back the loan. Literally, like I'm just like, okay, no, I'm not gonna add to that. No, no, no. So I did certification. Um, so I did AWS Solution Architect Associate. That's the only certification that I had when I got my first job. So, and basically, it's just to kind of prove that you know all the AWS services, at least most of them, to some extent. And I also learned the fundamentals of IT. Being I should have known that before, but then this is just me breaking into. I have to learn those stuff like command lines, how Linux, Git, and Bash scripting. So after that, I learned some DevOps tools like Docker, Terraform, Ansible, and what else? Forgot. So I learned all of those stuff, and I started to apply. But the number one thing that I think I have was confidence, because I didn't even I knew I don't have a lot. I didn't even have experience, apart from like doing stuff with my mentor, which is like a very huge help. Doing projects, like personal projects with my mentor. I didn't do anything else. I had that confidence. Yeah, we're ready to apply. And my mentor was like, hold on, you're not ready. I'm like, I'm ready. So, okay, well, so yeah, that's it.
I love that you touched on having that confidence, especially because this is geared towards like a younger audience who are recently graduating either high school, college, or they're just looking for that new transition. And the thing about it is like once you get into something like completely new, I can see people's confidence levels like, lower. And it's really hard to when you're applying to all these jobs and you start getting those like, okay, you're not a great fit or something, like confidence is slowly deteriorating. But it's
Yeah,
like you have to keep pushing. You know what you're capable of. Like
right.
it,
Girl, like when when they started calling me for interviews, the very first call that I got, I was like, and he was like, okay, can you do interview right now? I was like, okay. And we hopped on a call, and he started to ask me questions, and some of the questions that he was asking me, I knew them and I was replying. And he was like, if I ask you to build uh, a three-tier architecture, can you do it using Terraform? And I'm like, yes, I definitely can build that thing. And I was like, well, I've built two-tier architecture before, but trust me, if I've built two-tier architecture, I can do three-tier architecture. When do you need it? Oh my God, like I don't even understand what this guy was talking about.
the confidence. The confidence.
So, and then we kept talking, and then he kept like repeating himself, and I was just taking notes and like, okay, it has to have database, and it has to have the middle part, and then it has to have the front end. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, okay, no problem. What you needed? So I later on, started to Google online and stuff and like, what's up. And eventually I started to like relate to it, think about it, and see what stuff people are saying online. And I don't even know how that happened. And I started to understand what the assignment was. And eventually I was able to send him something in 2 days from the resources that I found online.
Look, you had a quick turnaround though. You definitely had
I,
a
I know, like I was just, oh my, like because I just wanted to, like when it comes to interviews, like technical interviews, they give you to like go do it and come back. I like to do it as fast as possible to, increase my chances. I don't like to let it slip for like a week or so. But I mean, sometimes I think I've had one job that gave me like 1 week to go do it. But if they say 1 week, no problem. I'll take 1 week or whatever or close to that. But if they just give it to me without giving me any deadline, I try to bring it back fast.
Okay, so I have a question on that because my interviews, I've never had to do a project and come back with it because, like, a lot of the stuff for me doesn't involve like having to create something. It's more so just answer the technical questions. It's a lot of troubleshooting, really. So,
Right.
how is the like I would say take home projects like? What are those like? Like,
So I
what kind of roles did you go for to get those two?
so is the DevOps engineer positions, and a lot of them sometimes want you to do like live technical interviews. And I do those until one of my friends was like, you don't really need to do those. So, and of course, some of them just voluntarily want you to like do the take home, and the take home, like I said, is like the building the three-tier architecture is like building something on AWS that includes a database, a private subnet, and a public subnet. Okay. And and you just don't go directly to AWS to build it. You build it with Terraform. Terraform is a tool for automation, like for provisioning resources. So you use Terraform codes, and once you do Terraform init and up to apply, automatically everything that you have, if you want to deploy like 20 EC2s, it's going to automatically deploy on AWS. So you do that and give them back the codes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting because I hear like a lot of people, like even in the group, I've seen a lot of people say they're doing like a bunch of projects for like a company, but it's an interview. So I was just
Yeah.
like, they're having you do work for them. Honestly, I was so
I mean,
confused.
it's just for them to see like what you're capable of doing and not literally like doing something that they will use in their company. But I haven't really been in an interview where they didn't have some sort of project. Are you saying that you never, like, do you do live interviews?
Yeah, I do live interviews, but I've never had a project. That's probably because the roles that I look for. I look for like network operations, network engineer roles. So like never had like a project to
No,
do.
but what about like live technical interviews, like where you share your screen and demonstrate if
Oh
you know?
no. So the way that I end up doing them, like well, when I do interviews, it's more so like they show me like a network and
Okay.
they give me an issue and then we work through that issue. Um and like the most one of like a recent one I've been on, it's like they showed me the network, they gave me like, okay, this computer can't connect to like google.com, like they can't do that, and we walked through the steps of doing that, and if I needed to pretty much like look at any device like configuration, they would
Yeah.
just pull out like what's going on with it. So it was never like I had to come back with a project.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah.
That's that's very interesting. Like I
I
honestly
mean, different tech field, I guess.
right,
Because I
it's
mean,
like
for Scrum, they won't, I don't think they ask you for to bring back any project because just have to prove that you can speak, know what you're talking about and have the stories to back it up.
I, I'm just still surprised at the interviews like that you have whole projects. Like some people, I honestly I just get surprised at them because of the time frame that companies will allow you to do a certain project. Like I've seen one up to like a month to do, and I think
Wow.
that's just for like higher up roles. Like you might go for like
Yeah.
senior, like executive type roles,
Yeah.
and I get that. You want to see what they've been doing or what's in their portfolio, even.
Right. For
Oh,
this ones, it's entry level, and so it's like short stuff that's manageable for real. I mean, it's challenging because we're just entry level, but it's doable.
how was your first position once you got it? Like how when
Oh
you
my.
got in there, how did you feel? What did you do? Like how did you adjust?
Okay, so I didn't believe I have that job because the job it took me 8 days from when I applied to when I got my offer letter.
8 days.
8 days,
What?
girl.
Whoa, that is quick.
I know, and that was the very first interview I did.
Really? You were lucky. You
I
are lucky.
I am blessed. I prayed to God. I was like, God, I started to apply third week of July and I told God, I want to get a job by the end of July. And I was just saying it just because I can, not necessarily that I mean it. But surprisingly, I got my offer letter on the 31st of July.
Said, ask and you shall receive.
That's what he said. So I didn't believe it until like the day that I supposed to start work. I dropped my kids off at school and I came back. I'm like, okay. I texted the HR. I'm like, this is Emmanuela reporting for work. And so he was like, okay, let me set you up. And then I was like, this is so surreal. I just sat down on the couch. I'm waiting. And he sent me everything, and I couldn't believe it until I logged in. And this is me, Emmanuela, at so company.com. And I was like, this is amazing. I couldn't believe it. But then, excuse me, the situation changed really fast because I realized the company was toxic. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like, the company that you get into and they expect you to um learn things on Google and be able to like do their projects. Like they are not, you know, giving you that orientation for their stuff, their technology stack
Well, they're
or
not coming
whatever.
in and training you. It's just like, go ahead and get to work. Was it just like that?
Exactly. And the first, like, whenever I finished training on Google, whatever, Udemy, and they said, okay, they're gonna add me to a team. So they added me to a team. I was like hoping that the team will actually like, show me what they're doing and from there. So the team, the first day, being in that team, they was like, okay, so we're having this challenge. We tried this, we tried that, we tried that, and it's not working. Can you solve it? I'm like, okay. You see, I'm very, very good with research. How about we take some recess? I'm like, how about we take some recess and I can research on this and we get back, let's say in an hour. It's it was so crazy. Like I was like, man, this is really tough. But and then to top up the whole thing, the CEO of the company, because it's a startup, decided to pick on me. He was like, okay, I want you to send me daily updates of everything that you are doing. And then every 2 weeks, he wants us to get on a live call and I share my screen and show him everything I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. It was really tough in terms of like, and one time he was like, okay, I want you to call me every single day and share your screen and show me exactly what you are doing. I'm like, oh my goodness. It was, yeah, like the work is not tough, but the environment is not what I expected.
Do you feel micromanaged? I know it's like startup culture where they're like really driving to get things done, but like, did you feel
Yeah.
micromanaged at that point?
Extremely. Like anything worse than micromanage, you can say. Like, I think in one of our meetings, I asked a question, and instead of him to answer that question, he kind of paused. He went on Google and he searched that stuff. He's like, it's on here. It's on here. Look, scrolling up. Like, it's on here. Look at it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, and then he was like, you can ask unintelligent questions.
Oh, oh.
I'm like, excuse me. Are you indirectly saying that I'm unintelligent? I'm not intelligent. And he was like, I didn't mean that. Don't take it personal. I'm like, well,
That's how it came
don't do
on.
that. But then, yeah, so that is why I stayed there for like only 5 months. Only. So, I mean, when that started to happen, I was already starting to apply for other jobs because, I mean, my mentor was like, we're going to apply to a lot of jobs and then you can choose which one you want to go. But I don't like interviews. So I just went with the first one that came along. So I started to apply again anyway. Um, and I got this job that I have now.
It's like you apply to stuff, you just get it. You just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Actually, this one took longer. This one took like 1 month because actually 6 weeks. So I applied. After 2 weeks, I started my first interview. My first interview was November 19th, and I got my offer letter December 14th. So I did like 4 interviews with them because I
oh, you
had to
have
do like,
4 rounds?
yeah, with the same person. I mean, the last interview I did with the CEO and the CTO, but they gave me the CTO first of all gave me like two different projects. I finished one project, he gave me the next one, and I finished that project. He gave me another one, and then we met with the CEO, and we kind of rounded things up. And so I would say it kind of came quick too. If I look back on applying to 300 jobs in public health and getting nothing, so it really came pretty quick. And I do love the culture in my current company, even though it's still a startup and I'm their only DevOps engineer, or DevSecOps engineer. I work closely with the CTO, but he works with me like a teammate. He doesn't micromanage me. And whenever I achieve something, he is extremely happy. He blows it up. He's like the last meeting that we had, I was working on something for like a week and I couldn't figure it out. So a week later, I figured that thing out and I told him, come on, Discord, let me show you something. And I showed him. He was like, this is neat. This is cool. So in our meeting the following morning, he told the CEO, you want to see something cool? The CEO was like, yeah, sure. So he shared his screen and like, I want to brag on Emmanuela for 1 minute. I'm like, this is it. I was happy, like being here. Like I've been in two different, environments. One is extremely toxic, and one is making me like fly so high. I've achieved a lot for them, like practically helping to build a solution for the customers and attending the customer meetings and everything, and part of like planning the entire thing. So and I know that being in a toxic environment makes you doubt yourself. It makes you feel like you don't know anything. It makes you feel like, why am I here? Like, why did I even switch? Like, okay, this is not for me. But the good thing that I did for myself was to move as fast as possible, not to tolerate anything that is making me, feel anything that's not positive or feel growth or confidence. So I moved as fast as I started feeling uncomfortable. And and the best part of it is that I doubled the salary from that first job, and and the environment is healthy, and they are super super nice. So it's really good to take that chance.
But congratulations to you. Like,
Thank you.
honestly, like I know that people sit in toxic environments just because they feel like they can't go anywhere else, or they do like think that they can't do anything. And
Yeah,
you're a
they
testament
definitely can.
that you gotta move up on and on out.
I know, I can take it really. Like my husband knows that about me, that I can't tolerate things that I don't like at all. I mean, like if you are nice about something, I really don't mind. I am very understanding, but you can upright tell me that I'm not intelligent, and upright tell me things that make me feel like, okay, what am I even doing here? So I'm just like, okay. And when I quit that job, I did not even give it 2 weeks notice.
You gave your 2 day notice. Like
Actually gave 1 week. I'm like, he don't deserve 2 weeks.
I am all for people leaving toxic environments.
Exactly.
Like
Lord, no, no. I advise that. Like, even if you're scared that you might not get something, just keep the job and keep applying. Because I mean, I was in the job until like I got my other job and I quit it.
you get that experience and you get out. Like
Exactly. I
sometimes it's
thank
like
them for the experience though, because I was there, I was learning, because I learned with AWS, but when they hired me, I have to learn Azure, Microsoft Azure, another cloud provider. So I learned. Now I know multiple like cloud providers, and it's a big plus on my resume. So I thank them for that, but they could have utilized my power or my qualities without like putting me down. So I guess they train me for some people else to use.
Like they get you ready for your better environment. Let me say
That's it. That's it.
well, speaking of, those toxic work environments and just how sometimes you just have to leave, what are some things that you want to change within the industry that you're like currently seeing? Is it that environmental phase, or is it more so, culture wise that might fall into play? Like, what are some of your thoughts and concerns on it?
Well, when I thought about that, actually, what I'd love to change, like what is the most deal breaker for me is the how difficult it is for people to break into tech. For people like me that, have gone through all the whole 9 years, tried so many things, and almost like feeling like we are failures in life. So we we want, like, when we go through that, because teaching yourself something is really hard, or having to, like, even if you have a mentor, you go to a boot camp, you're paying for it, and then you have family. Like, there's so much going on. Not like when we're in college and we just go to school and have fun. But now we have responsibilities, and then we have to do this as well. So, and if people can make it, if employers can make it a little bit easier to break in, because when you search on Indeed or LinkedIn, you see people saying, oh, for entry level jobs, they're asking for 3 years experience. And I'm like, okay, like literally, like, how am I supposed to get a 3 year experience when I'm just trying to start and this is supposed to be entry level? So is either they do that and probably put 1 year experience or no experience or whatever, or they create like a not a boot camp, like an internship for people who are switching, because I was looking for a lot of internship and I didn't see anything for like people that are not in school.
Like, I've noticed that too. So, I would like to speak on the fact that, like, when you're starting in, there is a barrier, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like, applying to multiple places, sometimes you just have to speak to them in a certain way. Like, a lot of employers that I've talked to, they just want people to have that drive and that passion to want to get into the industry. They show that they're willing to come in and learn as much as they can.
Yeah,
So sometimes it takes having that confidence that you talked
yeah,
about earlier to really, like, get your foot in the door and attend like
right.
networking events to talk to people. Sometimes it's just like you need to know people, and it'll lower your barrier. It's just like having somebody vouch for you that you're willing to come in and learn. Maybe
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Mhm. So yeah, that barrier to entry is hard. Like, when honestly, let me talk about something. My first like experience applying to some tech jobs, like out of high school, I had like did the Cisco program and then got my
Okay.
associates and all that stuff. And it's just like, okay, I'm ready to just jump in. Could not get a job. I was just like, what? It would felt like such a struggle. They were talking about, you need to have your bachelor's. I have my associates. So I'm just like, I'm going for jobs that my like associates like programs told me to kind of apply to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, they telling me I need to have a whole nother degree. I'm just like, these are entry level roles.
Oh my
Like,
God.
right. And the thing is, they weren't even paying more than $15 an hour. I
Oh
would
my
say,
God.
yeah. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to get some experience. And like, you need some experience or you need this degree. I'm just like, really? Really? I was getting so frustrated. like
I,
I'm
I, I totally understand.
I'm just like, I felt that barrier. I'm just like, it feels like they're doing everything to
Yeah.
keep you out when it's just like, for what? It's mainly, I think it's just when you first start a job, they don't want to train you. They want you to already know what's going on when you come in.
Exactly.
And that's not always the case. It's like I know as a general like public understanding, we know that college doesn't teach you everything. Everybody literally knows college does not teach you everything. But it's just like once you get in and start applying to jobs, they're expecting that college did, but we all know that they didn't.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like the boot camp and some of all these other practical like programs teach you better than college. And I think and you made a really good decision to go the route that you went to. Like I'm always thinking like what could have happened if I did computer science in undergrad or did some sort of engineering degree. But I'm like, okay, it's better late than never. So
It's like you
here
gotta
we are.
have something. Like one thing that I've noticed is it's really interesting to see how everybody's journey is. Like I've talked to people who have similar journeys to me. And for you, honestly, it's so interesting. Like you applied to your first job, you got it. And then you applied to another, you got it. I was just like, girl, you are just lucky. Like, where
I know, like I'm blessed.
you are blessed. Like you are blessed.
It's cool. I don't even understand it. Like, when I got this job, my mentor called me. He was like, "Are you sure these people are real?" And my man was like, you know, "Why did you tell them to pay you 90K and above?" And I'm like, "Well, I said that because that's what I want." It's like you should have said 70 because imagine where I was coming from. And I told God, I said 90 and above. Please don't let them give me 90. I want six-figure job. And he did it. He did it. Oh Lord, it's amazing.
You got the higher power working on your side.
I know. I know. I know. I know. He said it, ask and you should receive. So I take advantage of that all the time.
Let me like kind of like step back on your journey a little bit. So when you were going for you went for the AWS certification.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how long did it take you to study and practice and level up on that?
So it took me about 2 months to finish the AWS videos on A Cloud Guru. I use A Cloud Guru. My mentor recommended that. So, and after that, I stopped. I wasn't feeling well, so like I lost the momentum to continue. So that was in December 2020.
So
Yeah,
that was
2020.
okay. So that wasn't
So,
that
but
far
it
then.
took, yeah, it took me 2 months to complete the videos. Then I stopped, and until like February 2021. And every time I keep saying, I wish I did tech in school or whatever. I wish I did my major. My major was computer science. I wish I did tech like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And one of my friends was like, how about you stop complaining of what you could have done? How about you do something today that you will not regret tomorrow? I tell you, that was the best advice because that moment I realized that if I don't do something about it, next year I'm still gonna say, I wish I did. I wish I did. So that took it. That did it for me. I got back up the next day. I started to practice questions to take the exam because I already finished watching the videos and doing the practice, skills or whatever. So I started to like review some questions, and and I took the from February to April 4th. I took the exam on April 4th. So do the math, like 2 months. But that took me 2 months because A lot of questions that I found online trying to like find the answers was really hard because everyone is like, oh, is A, is B, is C, is D, is E, or whatever. So I'm like, I'm like, this is crazy. So, and the questions are huge, massive. So I was going through it trying to like answer all the questions, but after I finished answering all the questions, I down like it took me like a couple of weeks, like 2, 3 weeks to go through it and go write the exam. So then after I write the exam on April 4th, I started to learn some DevOps tools like Terraform, Ansible, and Docker. Of course, some of them we had to. It works hand in hand with, AWS, because we're deploying stuff there, or sometimes we are like trying to like bring up a virtual machine so we can install our Docker or do our Ansible stuff. So everything was just working together at that point. And we did that. Me and my mentor, we did those projects, little projects together up until July. So from April to July, we're doing little projects and also learning the fundamentals, which includes like Linux and stuff.
Okay, so quick question. Like you mentioned your mentor. How did you find your mentor? Did you join like a program and he was a part of it or they were part of it? How did you find them?
It's actually a family member. But yeah, you didn't expect that,
No.
huh?
Like you got somebody that does this in your family?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, and this is one of the things that like one of my beliefs. Sometimes people say, do not tell people other people what you're working on until it's ready and you've achieved success. But for me, I feel like talking about your goals, you might get help. So, at some point, like everyone thought that I was in health or whatever. Nobody ever thought that I was going into tech. And then we started talking more, and I started to mention the fact, okay, that this is where I'm going. And and at the time, he's been in IT for a little while or for a while. So his company they wanted to kind of move to AWS. So like the cloud was kind of new and DevOps tools was kind of new to him, but because he knows tech, it was extremely easy for him to understand. So like literally we are working together and figuring things out together. I love to figure things out. So, but he knows way, way, way more than I do. And he helps me to troubleshoot, helps me to like when I get stuck or whatever, stuff like that. So I call him my mentor because he really, I don't think I would have done it without him because when I get stuck and I cannot stuck myself, there's nothing I can do. I just like so he really played a critical role and he's has always been able to unstuck me.
Okay, so you would say that he's really helped you continue moving along.
You're freezing now.
Oh, okay, is this better? All right.
Freezing.
I'm freezing. Okay.
Yeah, it's better now. You're back on.
Okay, good. So my bad. Like, okay. You would say he's really helped you keep the momentum, like keep the ball rolling.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Not just by giving advice, by actually getting his hands dirty. Like we get on Zoom and we share screen and we troubleshoot whatever that is going on and together. So from the beginning, he taught me to learn how to troubleshoot. So he doesn't give me everything on a platter. I troubleshoot and he troubleshoot, so we working together.
Mhm. That's a nice family dynamic. I'm waiting for one of my family members to get in tech so we can do this.
Oh, I know, right?
But I'm really glad that you spoke on, the barrier and then also having a mentor, which is truly helpful.
Yeah,
Like, honestly, I think that everybody should have a mentor when you're
I
joining.
do too.
It's like you don't want to be alone on the journey and,
Mm.
somebody to help you keep it pushing.
And not just that, if you don't have a mentor and on the internet, like you can like there's so many tools to learn to become a DevOps engineer, but a mentor can give you exactly what you need from beginning to the end, removing all distraction. I remember towards the end of my DevOps stuff, I'm like, okay, I told him, how about it looks like it's easier to get into cybersecurity. How about I get into that? How about I take that exam? He was like, how about we focus? So, and because he's a family member did not mean that we did not have scheduled time. We had scheduled time like two, three times a week. Around this time, 8 o'clock p.m., we meet, we spend 2 hours, we do work, we troubleshoot every single week, and then on Saturday, more hours, and that's the morning. So, like, we really put in the time and the work. And yeah, because we wanted to do it at a shorter time space and not just kind of go away and do other things.
Commitment to the journey, consistency. Love
Exactly.
it.
Look at me trying to go to cyber when I was almost finishing DevOps. And he was like, how about we focus? Let's finish.
But I have to tell you, the shiny objects along the road in tech, because it's so much stuff you can get into,
Yes,
and it's like I'm still debating where I want to go. Like I was like, do I want to do cloud? Because networking is like an overall playing field, really, and it's
right.
just like you can step into different aspects with it. I'm like, where do I want to go with it? Because a lot of companies are moving to cloud,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's like their network infrastructure is going to be cloud based, and it's like I need to figure out what I what I want to do.
I think so. I think you should. My first job, the CEO actually gave me a project and told me to kind of set up a hub and spoke topology. Well, like I have a couple of things, like two VMs talking to each other or whatever, with peering and stuff on Azure. So it was really interesting. Like, when I figured that stuff out, like I'm like, this is really, really cool. And it's like one of my one of so yeah. So you should definitely look at the cloud.
I have to, stay focused. I'm gonna get
They
into
have cool
this.
stuff.
Like I'm gonna get into this role, and I'm gonna figure out like the pain points because I'm just like we're gonna see.
Yep.
I think it's already, but like I'm gonna be like water holes with information. So getting these priorities straight. But
Yeah.
we talked about, your journey. You talked about how long it took you to study, what certifications you got, and then moving into like the roles that you positioned yourself in, and then get into like a high paying role when people told you you should settle for less, but no, ain't no settling for less.
I know, right?
Mm.
So I don't think I mentioned that overall it took me 7 months to from hearing about AWS and DevOps to getting my first job.
Hold on now, 7 months. Like you had the commitment and the drive,
And
honestly.
guess what? I was also doing data analytics on the side. with Google data analytics. So I was doing that data analytics. I was doing AWS and DevOps and everything that comes with it. And I was working in a hospital, and I was taking care of children, two of them. So
Look, black women, we could
yeah,
do it all.
that's strong, man. I didn't want any stories because I was so tired of like when I
As you were starting, what you realized.
okay. So so I was doing data analytics and AWS and DevOps stuff together because I realized that I don't want to, all this while from my experience, I don't want to finish something and then ready to apply for jobs and realize that I shouldn't have done that. And it's crazy, but I've had those moments in my life and I was trying to avoid it by all means. And so I did both of them together, and when I finished, I applied. I don't, and I was thinking that would be easier to get, but obviously not. So I applied.
It's going.
Calls were coming so
I'm sorry. I don't know why this is
to apply
going.
for. Yeah, I was so busy with phone calls when I started to apply for DevOps jobs. Like I applied to 20 jobs, and I was gonna apply to like a lot because I mean that's all I know to apply to 300 public health jobs. And I applied to 20 DevOps jobs, and I started to get lots and lots of phone calls and interviews. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is good. So that is one thing that I really, really love about DevOps because of the job opportunities. And right now, I feel like it takes discipline to actually remain in one job. So it takes people really taking care of you in a job to remain there. Because every day I get stuff in my email.
Market's
uh,
high.
exactly, like asking. And even when I already took this job, I even have an interview for another role that's like 130K. I'm like, girl, I have my I have my job now, please. I don't want that. Yeah, girl. So I really like where I am now.
Look, sometimes it's more than the money. Like you can be paid well and then have that toxic environment. You gotta go.
E-
You gotta
Exactly,
go where you are going to enjoy working
exactly. And
and
you
still
see the
survive, like
impact,
thrive. Yeah.
yeah, and see the impacts that you're making every day. And then when we get on that customer call and we're doing demo on the stuff that we did for them, they're like, okay, do you have feedback? This is good, amazing, amazing. Like, so it kind of makes me, feel extremely happy.
Like you're doing fulfilling work. Would you say so?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, definitely. I mean, not before in my other job, but now, yeah. So, this role, I'll be here for a little while.
Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and transition into like the last section of the podcast. What is a motivating, insightful quote that you would like, others to know that has helped you along your journey?
Um, okay, so I would say don't be scared because that is for sure something that I really felt. I'm like, all these years I've been in health, and how am I supposed to live all of? But I tell you, it is extremely worth it. Risk. So I'll tell people to make that jump to tech if they want to, because it's worth it. It might not be very easy because it's something new, but just trust the process and give it 7 months. My in 7 months, within those 7 months, I had doubts. I call my mentor and I'm like, are you saying that this stuff we're doing on the command line is gonna get me a job? He would say, because he's a man of little words, he doesn't talk much, and he would say, others are doing it, so why not you? But I had my doubts, like just doing okay. I do LS. I do this, CD to here, create a file. Are you saying this is gonna get me a job? It's like if others are doing it, why can't you? And at work now, those are the same thing that I'm doing, trying to like, run Docker stuff. Like I still create files and create config files within Docker containers, and it's stuff that is still the same things that I was doing. He was basically laying the foundation. So if you want to switch, I encourage you to make that switch. Do not hesitate. Do it for yourself, for the fulfillment that you're going to get. Do it for your kids because they are looking up to you and you'll be able to guide them better in the future and everything else that you believe in.
Like, she couldn't have said it better. Like, do it for you and the people dependent on you. Like,
Wait.
I love that because it's just like it opened up so many doors for me. It opened up so many doors for her, and it's just like it's it's different. You get to experience an overall change, an overall impact. We are technically like a technology based society at this point.
Exactly.
Why not be a part of the growth and the change and the innovation? So
Yeah.
honestly, that's it. Like she said, she said. But I'll go ahead and oh yeah, I know you are helping. Are you helping others? Don't forget to shout out
Yeah.
your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I currently helping others, not just me. I have a team because with my master's in health and quality improvement leadership, we tend to like overdo. So I credit my team and of course my mentor, helping other people to like switch to tech. So I have a class going on right now, and they are extremely happy. And the class is ending by May, and we're starting a new one by the end of May. Five people in a class, so that we are kind of hands on and share and helping them usually to get that skills that they need. So we guide them from applying, we guide them knowing the skills to to applying until they get their first job. I mean, it's not a six-figure job. The goal is to break in, because once you break in, the growth is really fast.
like oh, do you have a name for it and where can people find you at? And I'll make sure to include any links in the show notes.
Okay, so I'm currently working on my website and it's almost live. I think it will go live by Wednesday. So, but I give it to you is growwithL.com. Grow as in GROWITHEL .com. Yeah,
L.
.com, yeah, growwithL.com. So it's go and it's so crazy that and the way the reason in mind, I made a post, not a post, I commented on something on Facebook encouraging people to join. This is God, because I didn't even have a website. I haven't put out my story there, and I have, and I'm like, whoa. So now it's actually when I started my class in January, and I'm now building a website. So because he doesn't care about protocols, he just take you from where you are to where he wants you to be, but you gotta be ready. You have to put in your work and be ready. Because all the years I was giving excuses, there's no way he can lead me if I'm not doing the work. So when I did the work, he's like, okay. And of course, I'm on Facebook. um, Emmanuela Amy K.O.K is K.O.K, not cock. People call people say cock.
I'm sorry.
I need to put dots in between those so that people know it's K.O.K.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, that's how I read it too. I was just like,
Okay, tonight I'm gonna put the dots. My goodness. It's supposed to be abbreviations, honestly, like abbreviation of names.
yeah, you need to go ahead and add the dots.
Okay, okay. I don't blame you though. That is so super funny. Well, when you look at it tomorrow, it's gonna have dots.
Okay. I'll make sure to include her links and everything in the description so you can check her out, and hopefully you can be a part of her class if it's not full already. But I'm pretty sure she's gonna run it again. I hope so.
Of course,
So,
definitely.
uh, if you're tuning in, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Go ahead and I'll make sure everything is description. Don't forget to click on the links and everything. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out on someone who has proven results to make things work. I really would like
Exactly.
for you guys to connect with Emanuela and really get your journey started and going and get rid of those doubts because you can
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yes.
My
And
passion is to help people to get to where I am, or better than me, or whatever, to see people that I help to excel. And you don't even need to take my class to call me. I really see the challenge that people are having learning, trying to know which angle of take they should go to. So I have experience with data analytics, Scrum. By the way, I'm Scrum certified, and and cybersecurity and software engineer and all of this stuff. So like five pathways to tech that I've had experience with. So when you call me, I'm going to give you details of like what each of them entails, and you can make your choice. The only time you take my class is if you're doing DevOps, Scrum. But if you want to do cybersecurity, I will explain the reasons why you should do it. If you and there are really good ones there. If you want to do software engineering, good. And if you want to do data analytics, that's also good. So I explain everything out to you so that you can make an informed decision. So it's not just, oh, you have to take my class. You take my class only if you are, if you have the passion for it. But my goal is to make sure that you don't waste a lot of time trying to choose which path you want to take. We want to help you make that journey short, and you are on your path immediately and getting that, black wealth.
look, Emanuela, I appreciate you coming in on the podcast today and everybody listening. I'm your host, Shakira Johnson, and I'm going to say it again. Links are in the show notes and the description so you don't miss out on none of this. And I'm I hope that you gain some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. And I hope you tune in every Thursday for new episodes and more knowledge to gain. Like this is prime stuff right here. Don't be missing out on it. So
Yeah.
uh, I really appreciate you coming on and everybody listening. I hope you guys have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us today. It's so exciting being here, and thank you. And thank you for hosting me in your beautiful podcast. You're doing such an amazing job. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.